What is going on, Team Prime? If you guys could read the title of this video. Well, my thoughts and pretty much the entire overview of Robots in Disguise 2015/2017. It has been quite a journey with the Team B crew, hasn't it? A somewhat kind of weird trip, but it's been a trip. What's up, guys? Oh, good lord. Shut up, stupid music box. There. Oh, can it, Leppy? Anyway, it has been somewhat of a bumpy ride with Robots in Disguise. But, let's just go over everything from beginning to end of the series. The whole series started out with promise to be a continuation of Transformers Prime. Things are going good. Yeah, the show was promised to be a sequel to Transformers Prime, a lot of people's favorite Transformers show. It didn't lead up to what it was hyped as, but it was still a pretty good show. We got a lot of cameos and references to Transformers Prime. Cameos being Ratchet, Bulkhead, Soundwave, Starscream, Optimus. Well, Optimus had a running appearance in the series. Anyway, the story starts out on Cybertron. B is just a run-of-the-mill street cop with his partner Strongarm. Next thing you know, Sideswipe's running in, and B sees a reflection of Optimus in what I'm assuming is water. He sees a vision of Optimus Prime telling him he needs to go to Earth to start a new mission. So B does anything that he can to get to Earth, and Strongarm kind of tags along. Hello, Anthony Bragg. And that's where our infamous adventure begins after the prison ship Alchemor crashes on Earth, where we meet our favorite little mini-con, Fix-It, who has the utter brother stutter. I had to do that. And our favorite punching Dinobot, Grimlock. Later on, throughout the first season, they'll gain a new team member, Drift, and other side cameo Autobots such as Jazz, Windblade. Later seasons go on, and we get more characters such as Blastwave, the Autobot, Bounty Hunter, or the Deaf Autobot Bounty Hunter. We get Blur from Rescue Bots. All that. Mainly, B's been chasing this one con throughout this entire series, and that's he wants to turn Earth into a home for the Decepticons while not living under the brand of Megatron's Decepticons. Yeah, they beat the high and mighty, the fallen Prime Megatronus. They beat Starscream, Soundwave. And the reason B is a street cop now, if you guys have not watched the final episode of Robots in Disguise, leave the stream or just mute me, whichever. But in the final episode, we know why B was a street cop to begin with is because of the High Council. The High Council this entire time has been disguised as Autobots who would do anything and everything to assure that Team Prime had nothing to do with the glory of Cybertron or the restoration of their beloved homeworld. The entire time they were trying to reach out to Megatron ever since the events of very funny, Leppy. Go to the corner. But yeah, that's what I thought of the show. I liked it. It was a good show. It wasn't as great as Transformers Prime. Like, Prime was amazing. It was a great series. Robots in Disguise did not leave any expectations. that much. Let's start off what I thought of each and every single character as they grew in the series. I'm going to start with Grimlock because I love Grimlock. Go to the corner anyway, Leppy. Anyway, we start out with our favorite Dinobot, Grimlock, who was a Decepticon on the warship, or on the Alchemor, and he was imprisoned there for destruction of property. He got out, and B and his team trusted him enough to help them. Lo and behold, Grimlock becomes an Autobot, and he helps them on Earth with all their missions. Now, the one thing I did not like about how they did Grimlock in this series was, I loved how he sounded, even though he's voiced by the same actor. The way that the guy voiced Grimlock in the first episode, I love that. Later on down the series, his voice sounded different. I didn't like that. I liked his voice from the first episode, where he sounded all tough and brooding, not just a giant goofball that loves to punch things. But Grimlock grew to be better and better at what he does, and I love Grimlock for it. Dreadbot, cool. Hopefully we get a movie edition figure. Hattie May, be quiet. Anyway, oh, very funny, Marvelous.
Who are you talking to now?
Nobody, Dominic. Just shush. That would be my nephew, if anyone wants to know. Anyway, moving on, let's talk about probably, I think, the most arrogant, annoying character I did not like in the series at all, Sideswipe. His design is cool. Hate his character. Sideswipe was an annoying... He's just annoying and mean to everybody. And I don't get why. They're trying to make him like that angsty young teenager guy. It's just, no, that failed. Sideswipe was just a character nobody really liked. He was a brat to everybody. He had his good moments, but otherwise...
Keep on.
Hang on, Sideswipe had his good moments. Sideswipe, for me, was not the best character in the world. Moving on from that, the other character I like, Fix-It was one of my favorite minicons. Let's talk about Fix-It, the Alchemor, one of the Alchemor minicons that were guards on the ship. And apparently there's a whole like clan of Fix-It minibots. That's creepy. Fix-It has always had this problem of a random stutter because of how he was kind of broken after the Alchemor crashed. Or maybe he was like that the entire time. I don't know. But Fix-It was a good character. My favorite episode though with Fix-It was the one where Denny accidentally activated Fix-It's guard mode. Like his eyes turned red, he got a bunch of weapons popping up out of his arms. Probably my favorite episode for Fix-It was that episode. All right. Hold on, bud. Fix-It was just a cool character. I hate that they advertised here and in the Japanese series that they advertised Fix-It can transform. Fix-It could not transform at all. It showed in Transformers Adventure, and they even brought it up a little bit here in the States, that Fix-It could transform, not just transform his arms into weapons. As we've seen in the series, all Minicons can transform into something. But that kind of backfired. But I love Fix-It. He was an awesome character. And Fix-It will never be forgotten as a good character from R.I.D.
I see the movie Transformer. Just that. That's fast. That. No. Over one. Over. Frontwards. No. Frontwards.
Alright, but I can't put any of that on right now.
I want the Jason one.
Not right now, I can't. Hi, Junior Murlos. Moving on from Fix-It, we are going to talk about... Oh, I'm ready for Cyberverse. I cannot wait for that one to start. Moving on from Fix-It, we are going to talk about the by-the-book Cadet Strong Arm. I was liking her in the beginning, but then later on, she kind of went from, I got to keep proving myself to be more worthy, or you got to do this by the book, or this by the book, or this by the book. That got old real quick. I love Strong Arm as a cool character, like more Fembot power, awesome. But I didn't like the fact that she was by the book all the time, or that she had to keep proving herself worthy of doing something better. Like, that's the one part of Strong Arm I hated. Otherwise, she was a good character. I think the best moment for Strong Arm is when she had that one episode we just had recently where she was helping her friend from the academy who went Decepticon.
Down. Go down. Over. Yes.
Not right now, Dom. I can't.
How Power Transformer YouTube.
But yeah, Strong Arm. My favorite episode with her was the episode where she helped that friend from the academy. Stop touching my shoulder. I can't play that right now. Yeah, since a show about the Wreckers would have been cool, but it didn't happen. Anyway, but moving on from Strong Arm, we're gonna talk about Drift, the one of the Autobot bounty hunters that ended up joining the team later with his two Minicons, Slipstream and Jetstorm. Drift was have I heard of Gundam? Yeah, I used to mess with them when I was younger, but hold on, Dominic. Drift was a what was once a Decepticon by the Decepticon or his master, I forget what his master's name was, but his master taught him the ways of a Decepticon, but Drift didn't want to go by that code, so he went off on his own. He ended up finding Slipstream and Jetstorm later. Drift he was a cool character. I like Drift. Ever since they brought him up in the comics, he was a cool character. I just think the way he worked in the series, he was kind of strict on his students. Kind of should be, but Drift was cool. I liked him. I think my favorite episode for Drift was his debut episode against him and Fracture. Probably one of my favorite characters in the series, or favorite episodes in the series. Moving on from Drift, since she was a series regular for a little while, Windblade. Like, Windblade was our first TV adaptation of that character since she appeared in the comics. Windblade was an okay character. She wasn't like she is in the comics, but she was cool. Sideswipe had a thing for her, so did Fix-It. And I don't remember if it's canon or not to Robots in Disguise, but I think in that series too, she's from Caminus. I could be wrong. I probably am. Yeah, she didn't last long in the series. Like, she was only in season 2 and then left. And so did Drift during Combiner Force. Like, he left after a little while. Have I seen the RID Legion Bumblebee? His neck is stretched. Yeah, I've seen that. Moving on to the final 2 main characters. Oh, good lord. I will be right back, you guys. Be quiet, Jayla. Shut up, Jayla.
Oh, I'll be right back. Oh, Lord. Look me.
I'm back, guys. Who was I talking about? Final 2 main characters of the series. Well, Optimus first. It's always good to see Optimus in a cartoon series voiced by Peter Cullen. But Prime has always kind of been there, but not always there. Throughout the first season, he wasn't there at all. Like, we barely saw Optimus. He was with the Primes, training to fight Megatronus.
Nope. Don't touch it.
Lockdown or Megatron? Don't know. Anyway, throughout the first season, Prime was training with the Primes to get stronger to fight Megatronus. The second season, wasn't really there. He only came back. Actually, no, he stayed after the first season. He was kind of a weak, bitter Prime after losing all the powers of the Primes, merged into one body. He was weak, brittle, just very weak. Then Combiner Force comes around. He's up on Cybertron half the season, trying to figure out what's going on with the council. While he was up there with Bulkhead, Ratchet, Windblade, and Jazz.
You don't know where Jojo is. He's on my other computer.
And that's who Prime's special team was on Cybertron the entire time. Moving, and finally, I liked Optimus. I think my favorite episode, though, for Optimus was during the final episodes of the first season of him versus Megatronus. Probably one of the 2 best episodes.
season I like the version of him fighting Iron Man.
And then finally we get to the team leader, which is Bumblebee. Now, after Will Friedle voiced Bee in Transformers Prime Predacons Rising in the very last episode of Beast Hunters, I thought, cool, Bee can finally talk. I didn't like about Bee this much in RID is the redesign to all my favorite characters from Prime. Like, I'm kind of confused as to why Bumblebee went from being the way he looked in Prime to this new design with like big shoulder pads, a Prime-like head, and rescanning a new Earth car. He must have went back to Earth in between Prime and RID because last I checked, B was black and yellow, not yellow and black. I don't know. Throughout the first 2 seasons, B was just trying to learn how to. Well, throughout the entire series, he was learning how to work with his team better. First season, really rough. Like, he was having a hard time trying to get Grimlock, Strongarm, and Sideswipe to get along and work with him better. He was trying to be more like Optimus and not trying to be like himself. And then as the series progressed later into Season 2 and Combiner Force, well, Season 2, Season 3, and then Combiner Force, B just kind of went from that to kind of being more bossy and authoritative, which I kind of liked, but in other sense I didn't like. Yeah, that's how it was. And then, what was my favorite episode with Bumblebee? Decepticon Islands Part 1 and 2, because he had that big confrontation with Optimus. Optimus being back, staying with the team. Prime kind of still taking his role while he knows Bee's now taking his role as leader of the Autobots. You're probably not wrong there, Louis. Louis. I don't remember how to pronounce your name. Shockwave got captured and sent to trial. That's probably what happened, because that's what Starscream and Soundwave are doing. They were on trial and then they got imprisoned somewhere where they probably couldn't escape. Shockwave could have been tried for the Predacons on Earth and just some utter destruction between that and the war. But yeah, that's the main cast of RID. Like, we had cameo bots throughout the series. Like I said, we had Jazz, Ratchet, Bulkhead, Blastwave, Starscream, Soundwave, and a whole bunch of Decepticons throughout the series. The only ones I can remember are Steeljaw, Thunderhoof, Quillfire, Clampdown, Fracture, Springload, Scorponok, Paralon, Scatterspike, Claptraw, Thermidor, Bisque, Fracture's Minicons, Megatronus, Menasor, Cyclonus and his crew. That's what I can remember. Then there were a bunch of side Decepticons that we never got figures of. Like, there were a bunch of figures or characters. Now, like I said, the series in total was not the best. Now, what were my favorite episodes of the entire series? Not just... Shut up, Vanna! I don't care. Go away. I'm trying to do a stream.
But you're my friend. Oh, you're my friend.
I don't care. Friend. Go away. What are my opinions?
Steal all your subscribers.
What are my opinions on the Stunticons? I'll actually get to them in a little bit, Louis. I forget. Didn't you say to call you Swagamus? I don't remember. Hello, Andre. But what are my favorite episodes in total throughout the entire series? Well, okay, my favorite episode in season 1 would be the episode where they all fought Megatronus. That's it from the first season. Okay, so I'll just call you Swagamus. That'll be easier. Or maybe you could change your channel name to Swagamus. I don't know. My favorite episode from season 2 would probably be the episode Windblade debuted in, or the episode when they all started doing this thing where they can scan the vehicle mode colors of a different vehicle. Or camouflage deco, or whatever they called it. My favorite episode during the season 3 6-part movie thing was the arrival of Starscream. And favorite episode of Combiner Force was them versus Soundwave and the Combiners. Now I'm going to get to a topic that kind of drove me nuts a little bit. They called season 4 Combiner Force. And it barely had any combining at all. Like, they barely did any combining at all. And this frustrates me. Because they've got all these freaking toys sitting on the shelves of characters that are these Crash Combiners. And the only people that combined were the Stunticons, the High Council, and the B-Team. Those are the only people that combined. Optimus never combined with Strongarm. Sideswipe never combined with Bumblebee. Like, it didn't work. Because apparently only Autobots can combine or something. Or the art of combining was lost to the stars at some point in time in the Prime universe. Okay, now Swagamus. Okay, that'll be easier now instead of having to butcher your name. Anyway, the Stunticons. I thought they were actually kind of cool. I thought those were going to be the major new villain of the series, but no, they were only like a partial set of villains for the main for the last season. Like throughout Combiner Force, the big hype of the villains were Combiners, which was the High Council and the Stunticons. The Stunticons were barely a threat. All they wanted to do was take over the world's road. And Motormaster had a big bunch of idiots working for him. Megatron probably could have led a better combiner. And then the B team combining, I did not like the way the B combiner looked at all. Maybe if they would have reworked it somehow, maybe it could have been better. But the Stunticons were cool. They really couldn't control Menasor all that much. Like, all their personalities were kind of slipping through Menasor. They really could not combine or control that thing at all. Unlike in Machinima's Titans Return and Combiner Wars, where once you combine, your mind is one. Your mind is not 5 separate entities controlling different parts. That's cool, Andre. Anyway, though, but like in Combiner Wars, once you combine, you're one being. You're not 5 separate beings just moving a big mechanical body, like it is in RID. I just never liked that function of combiners. Like I said, the B combiner was kind of eh. I think the coolest looking combiners in the Combiner Force were Menasor and Galvatronus. Even though I don't think they called themselves Galvatronus in the series, I could be wrong. Yeah, I think they were trying to work in Superion because they had Stormshot, Sky Sledge, and Stormhammer. Or Skyhammer and Storm Sledge. Yeah, that were their names. You had 3 different kind of aerial bots in this line that were supposedly going to be making a Superion-like character, but they kind of scrapped that idea, and those guys just came out as figures. So I think what they were trying to do was their aerial bot crew was supposed to be Twinferno, Stormshot, Skyhammer, and Storm Sledge. That was what their main plan was going to be, I think. But they got scrapped. None of them made it to the show. Not even the little Galvatron Crash Combiner guys. Stormnado made it into the series. Anthony Bragg, I couldn't tell you. That's your decision. But the High Council being Combiner and disguising themselves as Autobots, they kind of had that hidden for a while after Legion Class Cyclonus was leaked. And his bio came out saying that he was mind controlling the High Council. But yeah, everybody knew Cyclonus was going to be part of something with the Council. Otherwise, that's all I can really say for this series. It's not the best. It wasn't the greatest series ever. But it's what it was. We say goodbye to Robots in Disguise forever, and we are now looking towards the future for Transformers Cyberverse. Then Combiner Force, or maybe it'll be even worse than Robots in Disguise. We don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Do I have TLK Scorn? No. I'll be there in a minute. Guys, so I thank you all for watching. Thanks for tuning in. All that fun stuff. Make sure you stay a geek, always be a geek, and keep geeking on. I'm Dr. Prime. I'll see you guys later.